Morning, ladies and gentlemen, I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video we are going to look at this tank quite right here. It's the unusual one, the Raumpanzer. Of course, this is kind of like a tier 8 pattern with a big shovel in front of it that is classed as spaced armor. So what is the tank like, and is it worth buying when it does eventually come back for sale? Now, it's not a bad tank, to be honest. The armor profile isn't the best, but it can still work and it can still get some bounces. So for me, the weakest point is that big hatch on top. It's quite big and it is only 100 millimeters, just over 100 millimeters. So anyone aiming at that hatch will be able to penetrate you, and of course people will think that they can penetrate this this shovel here, but you can see almost 200 millimeters effective armor. It all depends where you shoot, but if people switch to premium rounds, especially if it's APCR, they will be able to penetrate you very, very easily. But if people start switching to the heat or the HE to aim at this thing, then it should just bounce off that off this tank. Also, the side of the turret, or the front of the turret, either side of the gun, is almost 200 millimeters, but I think that could also, wargaming could actually make this this a bit thicker. It does have a big gun mantlet which does go in its favor, but I just think overall it's a good tank. It is a good tank, but it's just easy to deal with, in my opinion. It is easy to deal with. It's easier to deal with in a heavy and a tank destroyer than it is a medium. Mediums are going to shoot the shovel, and they might bounce unless they are using APCR. The side of the tank is very weak. Of course, the rear is very weak as well. But overall, I don't think it's a bad tank. I just think it could be a little bit better with the armor profile. I mean, the turret, I don't think the turret is super thick, especially with that hatch. I do think maybe either side of the gun could be way more than it is, because of that hatch. If they're not going to buff like the side of the turret, then maybe buff the hatch. But it is what it is. We're going to get into some games just to see how this tank does play in the battlefield. I think, however, with the camouflage, the Rhino camouflage, I do think this tank actually looks really good. I love the Rhino at the front there. It does really make it look like a beast, but it's not what it is. It's not a beast by all means. It really isn't a beast, but it's okay. Let me just turn this down because it is quite loud. So yeah, I mean, it can do its job. It can bounce, it can do damage, the speed, again, for me, it feels quite slow. It does feel quite slow. Now, if any of you like the patterns and you get on well with the patterns, especially the tier 9 and the tier 10, obviously, you might get on well with it. You might do, but I just feel it could be a bit better. Now, this tank hasn't been around an awful long time, and the first time it did come round, it was almost it was very expensive to get. I think it was in the lock boxes, and you had to spend a fortune if you did want to get the tank, and it really isn't worth it. But I'm hoping the next time it does come round, it should be for gold. How much gold would I pay for this tank? Now, usually when it does come for gold the first time round, you're probably looking at, I would say, 10 to 12k gold, guessing maybe even a little bit more, but I honestly would not pay for that. I would not pay 10k gold for this tank, definitely. 8k at the most I would pay for this tank. But as you can see, we've got the Object 84 in front of us. Now, this game isn't, we're not going to watch all the game because it's not that fascinating, but I just wanted to show you that the tank can do its job, and it can bounce shots, as you've seen there with the Object 84. But yeah, some of these shots, I do not know where they are going, and we are going to lose this game. The enemy have got 2 bases, and we've had a few troll shots, especially in one bounce against the Object, and that miss against the AMX there, and now we've got the Samoa, so we're just going to back up. We don't want to come up against him. But for me, the worst thing about this tank is if you are using, or if you have played the patterns, especially the M48 pattern in tier 10, you would probably be used to going hold down and getting some bounces on the turret, where if you do go hold down in this tank, you're probably going to get wrecked because people are going to aim at that hatch. Again, there no idea where that shot went on the ISU 152, so we're just going to have a look at this game and then look at the stats of the tank, and just to see how good the DPM is, the gun depression, etc, etc. So yeah, we're just about to, I mean, it's a 4 versus 5 at the minute. I do have some hit points left, I mean almost, well, just over half hit points, but it's not looking good for us. The enemy are just about to get all 3 bases, but you can see I didn't really want to show you any very OP replays, because I just think that would actually put people send the wrong message to people, because if you watch a really good replay in the tank, people would think it's fantastic, and then they might just go and buy the tank, and then I would be completely wrong, and yeah, you guys might rage at that. So we're going to end it here. I mean, we bounced 1200 damage, which is what I really wanted to show, that it can even, I know we've showed you the armor profile, but I just wanted to show you that it can bounce shots. It really can bounce shots, but you can't really rely too much on the armor profile. So let's just have a look at the tank stats. Again, with this ranking, I wouldn't recommend people to rank up. I would just leave it, just ignore it, stay on level 1, doesn't mean anything. If you get to level 50, people are probably going to focus you, because you might play well in that certain tank, but yeah, with the ranking, I would just leave them, to be honest. But as you can see here, the turret armor upwards of 234. Now we've showed you that effective armor, and not the whole turret is 234, and the hull is 105 again, which we've already shown you. So the DPM 2505, so the DPM is not bad. It really isn't bad. The same as the reload, only 5.4 seconds, which isn't too bad at all. Penetration is 210 millimeters on your AP, and 260 on your APCR, and 45 on your HE. Now I do actually run this with well, I'm running it with the rammer, but you can run it with calibrated shells, but you're only getting a sort of 13 extra. So again, it's not really worth running it with calibrated shells, if you're asking me. It's up to you. You're not losing too much DPM if you do run it with it, and you're not gaining too much pen if you run it with the calibrated shells. So it's totally up to you what you run it with. I think the alpha could do with upping, if I'm honest. It has 225 alpha. I just think that could go up a little bit, maybe 250-ish, 260, I don't know, but I think I don't think it's strong enough. I think the tank's good, I just don't think it's strong enough, with the armor profile not being the best. DPM is okay. I just think Wargaming could actually up the damage, the alpha on this tank, but that's my opinion. People might completely disagree. People might actually think this tank's OP. You never know. So aiming time is 3.1, not too bad, and the dispersion is 0.317. It does, however, have 9 degrees of gun depression, but even if you're using that 9 degrees of gun depression, you still need to move backwards, forward, side to side, because you want to stop people aiming for that massive hatch on top. And the top speed is 42 kilometers per hour. So the speed is there. It does take a while to actually get to speed, if I'm honest. It's a heavy tank. It is a heavy tank. So if you have the opportunity to ram some tanks, then maybe that is worth doing, as long as you're in a situation where you don't lose too many hit points too early on. If you're winning like 5 versus 3 or 5 versus 4 or something like that, then yeah, if you got the opportunity, then yeah, just maybe it might be worth ramming some tanks, because you might just get that damage up a little bit more. So we're on Rockfield now. We've got the first shot into the standard B. We're just going to wait for him. Of course, I do want to focus him if I can. He's a dangerous target, and he can do a lot of alpha. But again, this game is not fantastic. I just want to show you what this tank is actually capable, again, put it in the right situation. So that's a Type 68, maybe one of the best tier 9s in the game. not the best, but one of the best, and we still managed to bounce a shot from that guy very, very easily. Of course, the second time we don't bounce, it was quite easy for him to get the penetration, and again we're going to get another bounce on the turret there. No idea why he's at that, even at that angle. I don't know why he's not even aiming at my hatch. He was just aiming at my turret, which was a bit of a silly move, but we've managed to bounce 800 from that tier 9 heavy tank. So that's also now put us in a good position, because that is 2 tanks down, 2 tier 9 tanks down, and this Pantera to deal with here. The AT-15, even though he's got DPM, he's not in any bother. He's the other side of the map, so if I can get a shot on him, of course I'm going to get the shot on him. We do get 1 shot, and now he is going to get taken care of. The standard B is a 1 shot, and the last remaining 2 heavies is over there with the VK and the Object 252U. So far we've bounced 800 damage. We've dealt 2.3k damage, so we have done that fairly easy. We haven't really been attacked. I mean, we could have got obliterated from the type, but luckily we didn't. We managed to get a couple of bounces from him, which now has put us in a great position. It is a 6 versus 2. We can just deal with these guys. 281 high roll there. Again, for me, there could be a few changes to make the tank a bit better, but until Wargaming do that, I honestly don't think the tank is worth spending your gold on, unless it does come for sale. I mean, watch this shot here. I don't even know that did bounce. I don't know how. It's just very, very troll. But unless it comes for sale for around 8,000 gold, I would strongly recommend not purchasing this tank right now. It could be better. I mean, it's a good tank, but I just think it has the opportunity to be a little bit better. Maybe a little bit more armor on the turret or on the hatch. If not, give it more armor. Maybe up the DPM a little bit. Maybe not the reload. The reload is fine. Maybe give it a little bit more alpha. But even in a tier 9 game, you can see we still carried there. But that was actually a really, really good team. Every single one of our team did over 1,000 damage. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsyreplays, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye. With